Good morning. It is March 23rd, 2022, and coming to you from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Slam Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamb, and with me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker. I've recently been listening to it's called This Is Important podcast. It's done by the guys who do Workaholics.
Okay.
And one of them manages a soundboard the whole time and plays random clips of audio and things like that. Like we're talking just well, either way, one of my favorites is that he does the Texas quarterback Sam Ellinger going, "We're back" at the beginning of every show. So every time we start a show, I keep thinking about going, "We're back."
I need to get. Was it Kevin Nagandi? Is he the one that did the? No. Who was the guy from ESPN that did the Texas is back?
Texas is back, baby.
I need to just sub in me saying the Best Slam Sports Show. It's back, baby.
That's funny.
That'd be great.
Yeah. He does a bunch of them. He's got that one. He's got the "I'll be back" whenever somebody gets cut out, like when their feed cuts out and they can't hear anymore. It's "I'll be back."
Oh my god.
He's pretty good at it. It's taken him 40 episodes, but they figured it out.
I like it. So we're streaming on YouTube. You can check out our YouTube page under the Best Slam Sports Show. That's all you have to do. Open YouTube. Everyone has it. It's on every app. It's on every phone. It's on every TV. Right? It's everywhere.
It really is.
Open it up. Type in the Best Slam Sports Show, and you'll find our page and all the shows we have recorded. I think there's 30-something shows on there.
We've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah, this is show. I don't even know what number this is. 83, 82, or 83. So almost a little over 2 years.
When we hit 100, what are we doing?
I don't know yet. Taking the day off? Yeah, I don't.
We hit 100. We're not doing a show.
We're not doing a show. We're gonna say. Well, I'll take that off.
Jokes on all y'all. I'm not going to be here.
But tune in anyway. And
so everyone's going to tune in for show 100, and they're just going to get a week later show 101.
I'll just record something that says show 100 has been temporarily moved, and then people have to figure out where it's at.
We could do a rabbit hole thing where we create links that take you to nowhere. To another link. Yeah, and just bounce you around until eventually you don't find the show.
And then we can get a clip of John Voight's voice from National Treasure saying, "It's just another clue, and it leads to another clue."
Former LeBaron owner John.
LeBaron owner John Voight. That's correct. Pretty sure those are his golf clubs, right in the back, wasn't it?
No, that was
a different episode.
That was his pencil. It was John
his
Voight's
pencil was in there with a teeth mark.
That he was chewing on. Yeah, because they went to Bryan Cranston's party, who were full of dentists.
Right.
And we're trying to see if they could get a dentist to match
verify
the teeth on George's arm.
Right.
Teeth marks on George's arm to the teeth marks on the pencil.
Because he said he got bit by John Voight.
That's right. And
correct.
Then the dentist, but then Bryan Cranston, what's his name? Something like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they tried to get him, but he knew the John Voight who owned the LeBaron prior. But with a HN as opposed to just N.
This is fantastic and has nothing to do with sports, but I like it.
It's the most important thing we're probably going to talk about today.
The whole day. And no, there's no doubt. It's not even. So the beginning part of the show and all that nonsense that we just did is brought to you by The Range. And The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination. If you haven't checked them out, go to therangellc.com. You can find all of the training, membership, and VIP information and opportunities. Check out their calendar under the events tab, and you can find the complete schedule for the month. Schedule of classes and activities is on there I think April's even out already. But you can enroll for most of the events and training online with a few simple clicks. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. Phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Slam Sports Show. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So let's talk about what we want to talk about, whatever we want to talk about, because that's what we do.
I was big into the Seinfeld conversation.
It was pretty good. We don't have to talk sports. I mean, speaking of LeBaron, Formula One kicked off. How come Chrysler doesn't have a team in this? Is all I'm saying.
Does Chrysler still exist? No, they don't.
We don't even.
They just folded into GM when they got bought out by the government.
The Chrysler LeBaron team.
That's right.
I like it. So the first Formula One race of the 2022 season was on Sunday in Bahrain, and with new cars and rule changes, it was a highly anticipated race. Let's
Yeah.
just say that. And to sum it up, I mean, Charles Leclerc of Ferrari won the pole in qualifying on Saturday. He was joined on the front row by defending champion Max Verstappen of Red Bull, and those two battled for most of the race, passing each other back and forth on like 3 straight DRS zones. Just passed each other back and forth, and that was probably the highlight of the race. That was probably the best part of the race until the nonsense occurred. But so that right? I mean, that's the best way I can put it.
That's a fair way. That's a fair way to refer to what happened. Was nonsense.
So Pierre Gasly's AlphaTauri caught fire on lap 46.
A Red Bull car.
And a safety car came out. Originally, it was going to be virtual, but then it became a full-on thing. And at first, when they said, "Oh, it's just a virtual safety car," I said, "Yeah, let's just not worry about the fire on the side of the track."
Yeah.
Right?
They were acting like it was nothing.
Like it was
we're gonna put out virtual safety. Just go a little farther to the left.
If you drive
over.
If you guys drive a little faster, the breeze will put it out. That's what I feel like they were trying to tell them. I don't know.
Did you see the guys running away from the
away from the fire?
There was this dude who was clocking like a 4.340 time.
Yeah, in the background
from the vehicle.
Yeah, in the behind the safety wall, they were running, and I was like, "What?"
He had to be 20 yards away already, and he was moving farther.
And I couldn't tell if it was maybe there was something more important than the fire, or if they were just afraid of the fire. But
I think that they were just thinking it's on the car, it's near the fuel cells, let's get out of here.
Let's let the professionals handle this.
If it blows up, it'll just be near the virtual safety car. It's fine.
Yeah, only the virtual safety car will get burned by this.
in any car currently following.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, Pierre Gasly was out at that point, which is one Red Bull out. Then they had a restart. Tightened up the whole field. Everybody was tighter, so all his lead he had built up, which wasn't huge, but it was 5 or 6 seconds, disappeared. And so we get a restart. And on the restart, Charles Leclerc got away fast. He did a number on Verstappen where he slowed down around a corner, and then right at the beginning of the straight, I think as Verstappen started to go, and then had to stop because he would have passed him, Leclerc hit it.
Well, they said that this is a thing Verstappen does, is on restarts, on stops, he pushes where he's supposed to be, like right up alongside you at moments kind of in front of you.
Yep.
And so it's really important to be really deliberate about when you start.
Right.
Like as he's hitting the brakes, you have to be starting to go.
Because that gives you a half a second acceleration advantage, and that's huge. It's absolutely huge.
And it did. It looked exactly like that. It looked like he just ripped away from him all of a sudden.
He did. He pulled away hard, and that was
because they did this in the last race of the season at Abu Dhabi when they did their restart.
Yep.
Lewis and him were right there neck and neck, and Lewis tried to time it, but he didn't time it nearly as well as Ferrari
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the restart happens on lap 51, and then on lap 55, Max Verstappen had to retire his car due to engine failure. Literally just stopped. I read 3 different things about what it was that made it stop, and I haven't figured out what it is yet exactly. But I know that he basically didn't have any the battery wasn't recharging.
Right.
So he had that. Yeah. So he had nothing, and he had no zip. He had no go. So
I heard that him and Sainz, which you'll talk about in a second, but I heard him and Sainz both had fuel pump issues, and that was the reason why their cars ultimately shut
off. Nothing going. Yeah. You got no gas. It doesn't go very far.
And they did too, because Verstappen they were calling it quits, and as he was pulling into pit lane, it shut off.
Right.
Like they had to, what's it called? They had to get it back on and get him just out of the way a little more. But it shut off completely.
So that's in addition to the gearbox issue he was having before that they said.
Yeah. They said he couldn't turn left.
Yeah. They said, there's nothing we can do about it.
It's funny because he's sitting there saying, I couldn't. He's talking to Charles Leclerc after the match, and he's like, I couldn't turn left. I just couldn't do it. And I'm like, I watched you turn left. I saw you turn left like 10 times between when your issues started and later. What you're saying is you couldn't turn left well.
So I mean, and there was a point in this race where guys went to hard tires, in the middle. I think the original plan was to go
And
soft, hard,
everyone
soft,
regretted it.
and everyone started regretting it. And one of the
Everyone jumped on hard and was like, nah.
and Hamilton, not just Hamilton, but Hamilton and Verstappen both said at some point.
Hamilton did it early.
He
did
did
it like lap 14 or 15, like real early.
They both said at some point that
This is
I've got no grip, and the announcers said, they said you have some grip. And obviously, I mean, it's not like you have no grip. But yeah,
they're all divas. They're all over exaggerating whatever situation. I've got no power.
This is the worst. How come I'm never doing this again?
I'm never doing this again.
That kind of thing.
Jeez. Can we all settle down?
The pit crew, the radio communications with the drivers of the pit crew is the best part of the whole thing. Honestly,
the pit crew has to roll their eyes 9 times out of 10.
Right.
There's Lewis saying, I've got no grip, and they're just like, oh, okay, Lewis, all right, just keep going.
Yep. Okay, Lewis, we're monitoring. Okay.
I do like when they just like give him like a very short answer, like, yep, we'll check on that.
Yep.
And then you never hear again.
Lewis says, I can't shift into third gear and my car is losing speed. Okay, Lewis, we'll check on it.
All right, we'll be with you in a second.
I mean, it's a race. It's not that big a deal. Jeez. Anyway,
it's called car racing.
Yeah, it's anyway. So Verstappen has to retire on lap 55 of 57, and then one lap later, it literally was he had just completed lap 56. He was on turn 1 or 2. His teammate Sergio Perez's engine literally just cuts out, and he spins sideways, and he's done.
It just died too. Like in the replay, it looked like he screwed up on the turn.
Yeah.
But when you watch the video again, all of his like indicator lights on his steering wheel just go off.
Yep.
And he spins out, and you're like, well, that sucks.
Zero speed, and so Red Bull's left with no points. I mean, they had three of the 4 Red Bull powertrains out of the race.
There's a couple other teams that are doing Red Bull, aren't they?
Well, I thought it was just AlphaTauri, because I think Aston Martin does their own.
I thought Aston Martin did Mercedes in the past. I don't know if they still do them or
Williams
not, but they did Mercedes in the past.
Williams has Mercedes.
Mercedes has
Mercedes. And there's one more team that has Mercedes, and I can't think of who it is off the top of my head.
Is it Haas?
No, Haas has the Ferrari, because that's why Kevin Magnussen was in
that's
there.
right. And so does Alfa Romeo has the Ferrari also.
Right. Alfa Romeo, Haas, and Ferrari all have Ferrari engines. And then there's
who that other Mercedes.
There's 3 teams that have Mercedes engines. So that's 6 of the teams, and 2 teams have Red Bull, and then the one Aston Martin has their own, and I can't remember who the other one is.
Well, either way, not a great look for Red Bull engines to start.
No,
their first year being semi-weaned off of Honda,
right,
doesn't look great.
Excuse me.
Oh no, bless you. That was a good one.
I couldn't hit the button fast enough.
You were reaching for the mute button.
Yeah, I was, and it snuck up on me, and I had both hands occupied. I couldn't.
We're lucky we didn't get all sorts of other sounds while you were slapping at the computer to try.
At least it should have been. It should have been that one.
that would have been a good one. I wouldn't have understood why I was being beat.
I know that it was. Anyway, that's what happens when in the morning. I'm not awake, by the way. So there's that
rough look for Red Bull, though.
It was, but it was not good for Red Bull. And then so Leclerc's teammate Carlos Sainz finished second, basically because everyone else was out. But he was still fast too.
He was going to be third.
He was going to be third no matter what.
Although Perez was pushing.
And the benefit of all of this was Lewis Hamilton, who let's say wound up third.
Was gonna be fifth.
Fifth, yeah.
Fell to third.
Fell into points, higher point, a podium. Yeah.
And Toto said after the race, "Better lucky than good sometimes."
So Kevin Magnussen, 2 years removed from F1 racing with Haas, finished fifth. And
that was great.
Yeah, that was great. And I like Kevin Magnussen. I think that he's not a super outspoken, but he's just a good. It seems like he's just a good, nice person, you know.
And we all like Gunther, the manager for Haas.
And that's what I told your mother when we were watching, and I said, hey, I hope that Drive to Survive season 5, Drive 5, let's just call it that, immediately has Gunther celebrating something, because he's never done that on any of the other episodes. He's
pretty much been upset for 4 seasons.
He's been angry for 4 years, and so I'm ready.
Although I will say, last year he didn't seem as frustrated as he did the couple years prior
because
he was kind of aware of what was going on.
They had committed to being last place at that point.
Yeah, they're like, it's okay if we're last place for a year. We're getting through to next year.
Yeah, we're waiting until next year. Anyways,
which started great for him.
And Lewis Hamilton's former teammate Valtteri Bottas finished 6th for Alfa Romeo. It was good for him as well. But the Ferrari engines placed 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, 10th, and 11th.
Great.
Which is amazing.
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah. I mean, 5 of the 6 had points.
It's crazy to me to think that, like, you're in an industry where, as Ferrari, you have your own F1 team, but you're going to sell your motors to other competing teams.
Right.
That is a crazy concept to me. Like, I feel like you shouldn't or wouldn't do that. With Red Bull, you have AlphaTauri, but you know they're like a sub team to you, and they're not as good. And not to mention, they work so closely with you, you feel like you kind of still control them. But to sell your engine to Haas, who is trying to compete against you?
Right.
It just, I don't know. It feels like something that wouldn't happen. It feels like it wouldn't happen in any other sport. Like, you would never give somebody your competitive advantage.
Yeah. I don't know.
I just feel strange. But yeah, Ferrari's engines showed out.
So what's your overall impression of the new cars? They
look cool.
They do.
The Google rims on the McLarens are kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They look neat. I'm with everyone. They're staying together more. The groupings are tighter. The most anyone got up by at the end of this race was, I think, like 10 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think there might have been like a 13-second gap, but that was deeper in the pack. It was fun to watch. It's cool to watch drivers trying to figure it out, and you're trying to figure it out with them. You know, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? No, it looks great, and if it seems like it's doing what they wanted it to do, which is keeping the packs tighter to allow more passing and more competition, so that way one team really just can't stretch themselves out and be head and shoulders above anybody else.
Right.
Which is great, which is what we want.
It is going to be interesting. They're headed to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix next, and that track also is built for a lot of speed. A lot of speed, a lot of places to pass on that one too. What we did notice in Bahrain is that they were 5 minutes. Overall time was 5 minutes slower than last year.
Yeah, people are really upset about that, thinking, "Oh, it should be faster." And I'm like, "Well, then just put them in jet planes." Like, what are we doing here?
To put that into perspective, though, it's only like 5.7 seconds per lap. That's what it is.
Per lap, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. If you race this car against last year's car, it's gonna crush it by 5 minutes. But it's still not. They are not going slow. The average speed was 203 miles an hour. So
yeah,
I mean, it's not.
Do you have a problem with the lap times being down and with the overall race time being a little long? Do you have a problem with it?
I didn't even really notice it.
Exactly.
Nope.
If you're noticing that, it's because you are trying to notice it, and two, you're concerned with nothing but improvement, like to speed. That's it. You can't be improved with, how competitive it is or how exciting it is. All you want to see is faster cars. At which point you should just tune into Top Thrill Dragster,
right?
Because that's going to give you more of what you need.
Yeah, you're a speed junkie.
Yeah, you're a speed junkie, and it's not the same.
I like the competitiveness. I don't care if it's go-kart or Formula One. I like it. I like a competitive race. I don't want to see a guy winning by 10 minutes. That's not helping anybody.
Those races are coming. Those Monacos where the pole position just wins unless they crash. We're gonna get a couple of those races where it's just like, well, this is boring as hell.
Well, what I'm hoping is that even in those races, you're gonna have a number 2, a car that's in second place that is literally right behind,
staying right.
Right, and so there's still a chance at any point that he tries something dangerous to try and get around.
It's true.
So, yeah.
And if Iron Man 2 is any indication, at some point, Vanko may walk on the track and just start tearing up F1 cars
with those electric tentacle things.
It's an electric whip, but
electric whip.
I'm not 100%. Like, there's like all sorts of fan things that are like, how are these powered?
Hey, right?
But I guess he built his own. Like, anyways, that's for our Marvel podcast.
Yeah, well, that's a separate thing.
but yeah, those races, I hope they're more competitive. Yeah. The ones that are typically just one person leads it from start to finish.
All right. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so it was exciting. Saudi Arabia is next. That's next weekend, so no rest. And that's on Sunday. What
10
time?
a.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. So actually, you can watch it in real time, which is
I'm gonna wake up at a decent hour
kind of
and then
nice.
watch a race. I'm
Right.
excited about
Not,
it.
yeah, you don't even have to get up early. So
No,
that's
you can
pretty
sleep
nice.
in almost.
This one was 8 o'clock, so it wasn't too bad, but that one's even better.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about real quickly. Let's talk about the Timbers. They lost to FC Dallas 4-1 on the road on Saturday. Currently tied for 8th in the West, which is about where they have been lately in the last year or 2 years. Anyway, with 5 points, but it's early. You know, they played 4 games. They won 1, they lost 1, they tied 2, which means they're exactly 500. Exactly. Which why they're exactly in the middle of the standings. But so
Fair.
anyway, there's more to come. They next match is Sunday, this coming Sunday the 27th versus Orlando at Providence Park. So, and if you have ESPN Plus, you can watch I think all of Major League Soccer games on ESPN Plus. So let's talk about another brief Portland thing because we have to do that. Let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers. I know we don't want to, but we're going to talk about them briefly.
Nobody wants to talk about that crap.
They just beat the Pistons.
Boom, Who hasn't beat the Pistons?
One of about 4 teams that are worse than Portland. On the road though, I mean, it was a road win. It was their first road win in since they beat the Grizzlies back in I don't know 1920. Anyway, so they won and okay, great, but the Pistons are bad. I mean, the Pistons are bad. But to win on the road and beat the Pistons by 4 points or whatever the heck it was, nobody cares. They're 27-44. The Blazers are now, so that's 71 games. There's 11 games left. They're tanking as hard as they possibly can.
It looks pretty deliberate.
Yeah.
When you know your team and you know what they can do, watching this, you start going, yeah, they're doing this on purpose, which makes you only wonder how the league doesn't do something about it.
Right. There's going to be there's a full slate of NBA games tonight, I think. Maybe I could be wrong. For the most part, there's at least 12 games tonight, a dozen games.
How do you feel about punishing teams that are below a certain win percentage?
You can't do that because what if they're just bad?
Well, there's an obvious level of competitiveness,
sure,
and there's a obvious level of lack of competitiveness, which is where we're falling with the Blazers at the moment.
Right.
Which is it's very clear that them and Orlando and Detroit and a couple other teams are not trying, and then there are teams that are bad that are trying. It's just not working. The Wizards are a great example of that one. Is there anything we can do to stop the tanking?
I kind of equate this whole thing to soccer. So in soccer, you're playing along, and all of a sudden someone goes down. There's a little bit of contact. Someone goes down, and they're grabbing their leg like it needs to be amputated, right? And does it? We don't know until number one we see the replay, right?
Yeah.
Did he actually get kicked, or is he actually is he hurt, or is he flopping, or what's the deal? And this is what you find when you see these teams tank because are you guys bad, or is this one of those things where, hey, well, we could have played this guy, but we didn't because he quote unquote had an injury,
right?
I don't know. And so how do you penalize a team if you don't definitively know that they're bad or not bad? They're good. How do you tell? Because you're watching the Golden State lose three straight when they're not trying to lose, but they're losing games. And you can't say, oh, you guys are tanking, so you don't have to be blah, blah, blah. You can't. You're going to penalize them if they lose 6 straight like the Nets did earlier in the year, 7 or 8 straight? Are you going to penalize that team for doing that? No.
Yeah, but there are obvious ones. There are ones that are obviously you are sitting people. You are obviously
I hear that.
Doing things like that.
So,
and then beyond that point, what do you do about about teams that promote a player and that player never plays? Zion.
I would tell you that if you're going to do things about punishing, then you have to do it fair and equally, and that includes teams that rest all of their starters at the end of the season. You're intentionally losing that game.
Oh well, they are doing that. Like that is it. When you rest players like on purpose, they have fines or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's enough. I think if you rest a player, and there's not a medical reasoning behind it, that not only do they have to sit that game, but they have to sit the next game as well.
Yeah, make it a mandatory thing.
We'll say since it's a medical issue, you got to be out a whole week.
You have to put them on a 5-day
10-day IR or whatever it is. Or 5-day IR, and next thing you know, now you're gonna be like, oh crap, we have to be more diplomatic about when we sit people.
Right.
Greg Popovich.
Right. I mean, it's a smart move at some point to do it, especially if you've got a playoff spot locked up, or you just need sometimes you just need a day off.
Yeah.
Reset your team. It also gives the other players some experience, but
And it can't be hard to sit there and be like, oh, he's got left ankle tightness.
right.
So we're sitting him for a
Left
day.
ankle tightness. I like that. Tightness is
Ankle
one of
tightness.
my favorite injuries. I have tightness.
I currently have left ankle tightness, but it's actually for a legitimate reason. So.
Well, no, let's be fair. Legitimate meaning I got hurt playing flag football is not necessarily a legitimate.
Does not make it any less of an injury. Just makes the reason for the injury a little more stupid.
Yours was sports related, sports adjacent.
No, I was playing a sport. I was playing a sport.
All right.
I wouldn't say I was playing it at the highest level, but it was one of the levels.
No, it was one of the levels. It was
on a level.
Of all the levels of football, that was one of them. Yeah.
It was one of them. It's not Pee Wee, but it's also not the pros.
So the Blazers are now 7-18 in their last 25. This season is over, right? And hopefully we'll see them do something in the offseason. They can help Damian Lillard if he comes back.
Announced.
Yeah. So hopefully that's the thing they can fix. Let's talk about NCAA basketball.
Oh yeah.
Because we're at the Sweet 16 now, and first thing you have to say is if how many listeners out there had the St. Peter's Peacocks in the Sweet 16?
They should all have them.
You shouldn't have had them. Now you should. If you did the reset, you definitely have them. And what do you do with
a week is Kentucky having?
What do you do? Yeah, what do you do with them now though? Yeah, I don't know. Kentucky
they lost their women's team and men's team into upsets.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Great.
Awesome. So that St. Peter's was a 15 seed out of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, the other MAAC. They beat 2 seed Kentucky 85-79. Then number 7 seed Murray State, who was the only one of like 3 teams in the tournament that had 30 wins. Although it was Murray State and it was the Ohio Valley Conference. Shh. But they beat them 70-60. And next up is number 3 seed Purdue on Friday.
Yeah.
How about Michigan? Who had Michigan in their bracket getting to the Sweet 16? Michigan was a 11 seed.
They're actually in my bracket.
They beat
the Sweet 16.
They beat. Did you really pick them?
Mm-hmm.
They beat.
I think I like their matchups.
They beat Colorado State 75-63, and then they beat Tennessee 76-68. They're going to play number 2 Villanova on Thursday. So
I should rephrase this. They're in one of my brackets.
One of your brackets, okay.
I think the one that is in our family's league. I think Tennessee's winning that one. So I don't think that's it. But they're in my work bracket.
Your other matchups are interesting. So North Carolina, UCLA. I like that one.
I love that. That's a classic.
Yep.
2 classic teams. That's a great one.
And then you have two lower seeds. You have Iowa State versus Miami, 11 versus 10.
I could care less about that game.
But it's going to be a good basketball game, I think, because of the way those teams should be evenly matched.
Yeah, if that game's not on TV, I won't care.
The snoozers, in my opinion, are going to be Providence, Kansas. That's Kansas going to roll.
Oh,
Arkansas.
Ruling out Providence, huh?
Oh yeah, Arkansas, Gonzaga. Because the way that Drew Timmy's allowed to hook you and drive to the basket, and Gonzaga gets all the foul calls, that's going to be a Gonzaga win.
Yeah, they're keeping Gonzaga in this. When you sit and watch it, and everyone who's a fan of the show knows I hate Gonzaga, and I don't hate them. I just don't like what they're able to do. And when the tournament tries to justify their 1 seeding by having officials, we'll say rig a game, I get a little less impressed.
Yeah, hate's a strong word, but it's not strong. It's not too strong to say that I dislike them a whole lot.
I dislike them a bunch.
Yeah.
But Mom would say I'm not a fan of them.
Yeah, right. So Texas Tech is playing Duke, and if
that could be a good game,
it won't be because they're still Mike Krzyzewski's influence.
Oh, the fix is in.
He has to get to the Final
K.
Four, so he's got to win at least 2 more.
Yeah.
And then Houston.
It's possible.
Houston and Arizona, and I think Arizona is the best team in this tournament. So
I don't think that they have eked out.
Okay.
Well, not their first round, but they eked out their second round and they squeaked their way through the Pac-12 tournament. I don't know. I feel like they're ripe for the upset.
You can say that, and I'd be okay with that. I will just tell you this: that number 1 seed Baylor lost in the second round. Number 1 seed Kansas beat Creighton by 7. And
I told you
I
wasn't sold on Baylor, but
right.
also wasn't sold on Kansas, and they smoked.
Number 1 Gonzaga was struggling with 16 Georgia State in the second half, and then barely beat Memphis. So none of those number 1 seeds have been dominant. So I would tell you that's okay. The teams that have looked the best, to be honest with you, Duke looked pretty good. Villanova has looked pretty good, but it was Delaware and it was Ohio State.
Purdue looked pretty good.
Yeah, Purdue has looked pretty good, considering I thought Purdue would be out by now. I honestly thought Purdue had lost to everybody in the Big Ten already. I figured they were just going to lose one of these.
TCU had Arizona, though. They were up 5 points with like a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
And then on the next like 3 possessions, they called a foul on TCU on all 3.
Probably the best looking team in this tournament right now, if you judge by the eye test, that's North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina's fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope that happens.
Yeah, they looked hot in the ACC tournament too. So I think that's that would be great to watch. It would be even more fun to see Duke and North Carolina in the Final Four playing in a semifinal. That'd be fantastic. Just saying, from a pure basketball standpoint, that'd be fantastic. But probably won't happen. But who knows? Anyway, who at this point in the reset at 16, who do you have winning the whole thing if you had to pick one of these teams right now?
I'm gonna say, since my bracket is completely in the garbage.
Yeah.
I'll say that because I believe that there is a bit of a fix on the tournament. I'll say Gonzaga's probably gonna win it.
Okay.
I'll say they're gonna coast through in Arkansas. Well, not coast. I think that's gonna be tighter than it seems. But all of their games have been struggling, looking terrible in the first half. Second half, start to get the calls. So I'll say they're going to make it their way through that. They're going to make their way through Arkansas, and then probably Duke, I think, is who they'll have to play afterward.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that might stop them. But I'm gonna say they get in there and they make some noise. So I'll say Gonzaga.
Your potential matchups are Duke Gonzaga for the West, right? Either North Carolina or UCLA versus Purdue.
That's so good,
right? In the East, Arizona Villanova would be 1-2, or Michigan and Houston, which would be interesting. And then Kansas versus a 10 or 11 seed. So Kansas, in my opinion, Providence hasn't been tested. They haven't played. They played South Dakota State and number 12 seed Richmond. They haven't played anybody. I don't know how good they are. I know that Kansas is good. With how good they are, I don't know. So they're going to get into the 8, and they're going to play a 10 or an 11 seed. So they're going to get into the Final Four. If you don't have Kansas in the Final Four at this point, you should, because they're going to be heavily favored in both those games.
I feel like they had the easiest path so
far.
Yeah, and that's going to come to a stop, and we'll see how they react when they're properly tested. But I feel like it's been the easiest.
To be honest, if they get in the Final Four, the highest seed they will have beaten will be a 4. So
interesting.
Yeah. So
good luck at the draw, then.
Yeah, you could still have three 1 seeds get into the Final Four. So if you had all 1 seeds going in, you're still looking okay.
Well, that's the blessing right there. Is if you're a 1 seed and there's chaos in your bracket, man, you're only going to benefit from that.
Yeah, excuse me, hold on just a second.
Oh yeah, you gotta clear that throat out.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting sick. I don't know. But anyway, so the right here on the air live. Anyway.
You're listening to me getting sick.
Yeah. So the only region that went according to plan, and by that I mean the top 4 are in the Final Four for that region is the West. So that's the only one that's going according to Hoyle, as they say. You ever heard that phrase?
No. What the hell does that mean?
So Hoyle makes playing cards, a company that makes playing cards. And the rankings of the cards, or the hands, right?
Yeah.
Is made by Hoyle. This company, there's a person actually that founded the company. But anyway, Hoyle is the company that makes they have a list of, okay, it's Royal Flush, and then it's this, and then it's this. Here's the rankings of the hands. And if everything is going according to Hoyle, it is literally on schedule. Like, this is the right way. This is how the ranking should be. So
yeah, Hoyle is based off of Edmund Hoyle.
There you go.
Born 1672 in England, died 1769. Holy crap, he was like 90 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 1700s.
Yeah. That's a long time to live back then.
He avoided the scurvy. So yeah.
Yeah. He works on rules and play of card games. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Hey,
just Googled it. Nice.
Just we're full of useless information. If nothing else, you learned Hoyle today.
Yeah, I had never heard that phrase
There you go.
in my life
There you go.
prior to just now.
If you don't play cards enough, then you don't.
And I'm probably still not going to use it.
It's going according to Hoyle. If you break that out, anybody over the age of 50 will know what you're talking about.
Well, thank God I conversed with so many people over 50.
You should get out more. That's all I'm saying.
I should get out more to those places where 50-year-olds are.
To the senior center. Let's go.
That's 50's not senior
55.
center.
55 is a thing now. Everybody 55 and over communities. If you're over 55, you get 10% off every Tuesday. From like 3 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the morning at the grocery store, because that's the only time you're up. Because by 6 a.m. you're eating dinner. Anyway.
But by the way, there's a little piece of trivia for you. What time? So in the episode where Jerry gives his parents a Cadillac,
yeah,
they decide to go to dinner.
Yeah.
What time do his parents want to go to dinner?
Oh crap, I don't know. 4? What time was it?
2? It's 4:30.
4:30. Okay, that's about right.
And Jerry won't do it, so they show up late, and that causes all the commotion.
Right.
With "you're too good for the dinner special."
Right. Yeah. 4. That's a thing, man. Old people eat early. I don't know.
I feel like I've never known older people to eat that early.
Okay, but you know that I wake up early, and that's part of.
I know you wake up early. Yeah.
Being military, we got dogs. I wake up early. So if you wake up early and you have breakfast, if you literally eat right away, I'd be eating at about 6 a.m.
Which means you're lunching at 12.
Which means you're gonna at the
latest.
The latest. I'm thinking 11, but that's 5 hours you've been up since you ate.
So are you really feeling like dinner is at 4 or 5?
I'm just saying. I
they say
I could
you're
do
not
that if I
eat like 4 hours before you go to bed.
I could do that if I go to bed at 8. That's great.
That's preposterous.
Right?
Bed at 8? What is that? What are you even doing? Why you even get up?
I'm telling telling you, I go to bed about 9. It's not wrong.
That's ridiculous.
Because I get up at 5:30.
There's no need for that. Just stay up later. Enjoy the evening when the world is quiet. It's chaotic enough.
We don't like people. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's true. So that's the best reason to be up later, because no one else is up.
All right. Second half of the show. Let's move along.
The hard-hitting topics today.
That's what we're talking about here. I mean, this is important. I don't even have a trivia question, by the way. So, didn't even have one.
I'll find one.
Okay, go. So that's you. So second half of the show, brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Be sure to tune into BossKittyLive.com for knit-alongs, games, fun, and exclusive sales. Exclusive. I couldn't even say it.
You got it.
Go on the BossKittyShop.com website and get your kitty glitter yarn. It's soft, sparkly, and out of this world. Looking for a gift? Get them a Boss Kitty Shop virtual gift card and let them pick it out for themselves. That's Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Yarn so boss you'll knit your pants. So, what we're gonna do is go to the second half of the show, which is important. This is big. This is where all the important NFL news happens. Right here.
Oh yeah, the good stuff.
I guess I don't know. The other stuff was good too so far, but this is what happened. So, the Falcons announced that they had reached a deal to trade Matty Ice. You've seen the Tide Cold commercials, right? With Matt Ice.
Yeah,
those are hilarious. I like that. When Stone Cold is telling a guy he needs to chill out, that's hilarious. Anyway, sorry, for a third-round draft pick. This is all Indianapolis. That's all Atlanta's getting out of Matt Ryan, other than dead cap space of $40.5 million. And for those of you who don't know what a dead cap is, and I didn't, I had to look this up. Dead cap space is money that you agreed to pay a player that you haven't yet paid him when you get rid of him. And how they figure that out is, let's say I sign you to a $5 million contract for 5 years, right?
Okay.
But I'm only going to pay you, it's prorated. So I'm only going to pay you $250,000 each of the first 4 years, and then $4 million in the fifth year. Okay. So that's your $5 million. But after 2 years, I decide, you're not worth it. I'm getting rid of you. Right? I need to trade you away. What happens is they prorate the contract based on the number of years. So $5 million over 5 years, I should have paid you $2 million, but I've only paid you $500,000. What happens is I am left with a cap hit of $1.5 million. That is still on my books, right? And the reason that happens is to avoid people saying, "Oh, we're going to pay him $600 million, but I'm going to pay him $2 this year, $2 next year, $2 the next year," And then when we trade him away, we don't have to worry about the other 500 and whatever $1 million. It still counts against your salary cap because you're the one who promised to pay him that much money. So that's how it works. So it's dead cap space. This move with Matt Ryan to Indianapolis is the largest single player dead cap space in NFL history. $40.5 million. Because his contract was so back heavy. So that's what they did was they're trying to free up cap space. It isn't going to help them this year. They still have to pay a crap ton. But well, they don't have to pay it. They don't have to pay the money. They just can't sign anybody because it applies towards their cap. So that's what happens. They don't actually have to pay him the money. But anyway, so that's what dead cap is, and it's retarded, but that's what it is. It's just a dumb thing that happens, and I get why they did it. Is to prevent people from inflating the salaries artificially.
Yeah.
Without ever having to pay the money. So that's what they did that for. Anyway, all of that being said, Matt Ryan, the reason the Matt Ryan trade is so big for those of us listening to the show is that immediately after that, the Atlanta Falcons announced that they were picking up Marcus Mariota.
Woo!
As what we assume to be the starting quarterback, although he'll probably have to compete with, I don't even remember who the backup quarterback is in Atlanta, I'll be honest. I haven't seen a backup quarterback in Atlanta for a while.
Well, that's a great question.
I don't know off the top of my head. I looked it up some point in time, and it went right out of my head. That's how important that guy was.
Well, they've had the same person forever, so
right.
It doesn't. You don't typically look at the backups when you've been dealing with the same guy for the longest time.
Right.
So, yeah,
but
I can't see that.
So anyway, Marcus Mariota signed a free agent deal, 2 years, $18.75 million to become the quarterback in Atlanta. Which is a good move.
Their backup is Felipe Franks.
Oh, yeah. Former Florida quarterback Felipe Franks, University of Florida.
Perennial backup.
Which is why we don't know him. Because he's not very good. All right, so other moves. We're going to kind of gloss over that. I know it's a big deal, and Marcus is a big thing for us, but I will reserve judgment until, number one, he stays healthy, and number two, proves that he can win a couple football games in Atlanta. But anyway, good opportunity for him. So also what happened, let's talk about this. Case Keenum, the backup quarterback in Cleveland, went to Buffalo for a 7th-round pick this year.
They're stacking Trubisky and Keenum.
Nope.
Did they move Trubisky already?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that.
Hold on to it. Hold on to that. Teddy Bridgewater's in
last I heard.
Teddy Bridgewater's in Miami now.
That's a big one.
Thanks to the free agent deal with Denver. Or from Denver, they picked up Teddy Bridgewater. They're listing him as the backup quarterback, but I will tell you that he will be the starting quarterback in less than a year.
Because you believe that Tua will be hurt, or because you believe that Tua will fizzle out?
Both. I think
I need you to commit to one.
Well, okay. Which one do I think
to happen?
The hurt. The hurt will happen first.
Okay.
But he's never been great. Even when he's healthy, he's good. Serviceable, but he's not a great quarterback. He's not going to lead Miami.
Weren't they 7-1 when he was healthy as a starter?
Yeah, their defense was fantastic.
It
wasn't.
Doesn't the offense have to win those games?
You only have to score 3 points if your defense is fantastic. You don't have to be good. Go look at his numbers when they were winning those games. 150 yards passing, 180 yards passing. It's not great. It's okay. His passing percentage was pretty good, 60%, but he's not great. It's not fantastic numbers. You don't go look at it and go, wow, he won them a football game. It happens once in a while.
You're saying any serviceable quarterback would have won those games.
Correct.
It's not Tua's. It's not Tua. So yeah, they're overpaying and they shouldn't have drafted him.
It's the Denver Broncos Peyton Manning situation where Peyton Manning could not throw that football very far anymore. He had shoulder surgery, but their defense was so good he didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, even then, Peyton Manning did.
He's still
more
smart,
than anyone will give him credit for.
The reason I will give him credit is because he's much smarter than Tua will ever be as a quarterback, just in general. His general knowledge and command of the field and knowing what to do and how to overcome even when you have a problem is much better. But that's what an experienced veteran will do for you. Teddy Bridgewater has experience. He has won before. He's going to be the starting quarterback in Miami at some point this season. So
Peyton Manning's last year, his interception rate, he threw 9 touchdowns and 17 picks.
Yeah.
But he only started 9 games, but he was 7-2 in those games.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Their defense was fantastic.
Incredible.
Yeah. Tua was in much the same boat with Miami. Just saying.
Yeah.
Not quite that big. But anyway.
All I'm saying is we're talking about Tua in the same breath as Peyton.
We shouldn't. Well, we're only talking about him at Peyton at the end of his career in the same breath as Tua.
I'm just saying though. That's Hall of Fame. That's a Hall of Fame crowd he's running with right there.
Yeah, it's a Hall of Fame defense he's running with right there. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
I hear what you're saying. I'm going to challenge that. I'm going to say that's not going to be the case. I think Tua will stay healthy this year. Will be the starter. I think you're looking at a 9 to 10 win Dolphin team, and you're looking at a playoff. I'm going to say you're looking at a potential playoff Dolphin team, depending on how many AFC West teams get in and shove out other AFC teams.
The Dolphins will be. Let's just throw out a number. The Dolphins will be 3-5 when Tua goes down.
Okay.
3-5.
And write down, people.
Teddy Bridgewater will come in, right, and lead them to a 6-3 rest of the season, and they'll finish 9-8 and miss the playoffs.
Tua's not going down, is what I'm gonna say this year, and Bills are gonna win this division, so they have to be a wild card. That's why I'm saying it depends on how many AFC West teams force their hands.
And well, I would also tell you that the Jets have improved their chances of winning by picking up some good players. We'll talk about a couple of those here in a little bit, but yeah. Anyway,
I'm not going to talk about the Jets.
New England, I don't know about yet. I think New England is piling.
They were a really good team
draft
last
picks.
year, but
They're piling up draft picks, is what they're doing. New England. They got rid of some people. But anyway, let's move on to more quarterbacks because there's more. There's more. Since we talked last, it's only been 2 weeks, but since we talked last, there's more. So there's
there's more.
There's your boy, Mitchell. We can't call him Mitch. Mitchell Trubisky is in Pittsburgh. He signed a free agent 2-year deal to move to Pittsburgh because they have absolutely zero faith in helmet catcher Mason Rudolph.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. So, also, more stuff. Carson Wentz is the reason why Matt Ryan could go to Indianapolis. Carson Wentz is now a Washington Commander.
Such a great team name.
Washington has not gotten rid of Taylor Heineke, last year's starter. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Maybe he's the backup. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't know, but they got to get rid of a quarterback at some point. But they haven't done it yet.
Maybe.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so in that deal, it's funny. I listen to these deals and I read what the terms are. Indianapolis gets a 2022 second round, a 2022 third round, and a 2023 third or second round, depending on if Carson Wentz plays 70% of the plays this year in Washington.
Oh,
yeah, that's like a conditional.
A lot of what ifs, huh?
And Washington gets a 2022 second round pick. So I don't understand how we'll give you our second round pick this year. You give us your second round pick this year. Those are just to me, unless you're first in that round and last in that round, then it's pointless. But all right, they did that. Let's swap draft picks. Oh, okay.
I've never quite understood the swapping picks.
Yeah, but
especially in the later rounds.
So even further news brings us to Deshaun Watson, now cleared of criminal charges, still faces 21 separate civil suits, which won't really affect. He could still be punished by the NFL under their personal conduct policy if they decide to do that.
I feel like they would have by now.
Well, if he starts getting verdicts in civil suits against him, they might. I don't think they will if he doesn't.
I don't see what the difference is between this moment today, the moment 2 months ago, and a moment 2 months in the future when somebody sues civilly. Although a lot of the experts are predicting these civil suits are going to drop off the face of the map.
They might.
because there's a precedent that there's no criminal activity.
Right.
So it's going to hit these civil suits hard.
Right. And he may never receive any kind of anything. And nothing may have happened. I mean, maybe all this is bogus, but it's
which is crazy if that's true.
Right. In which case somebody owes him something.
Well, Cleveland.
Yeah, well, Cleveland is going to pay him.
That.
So Cleveland picked up Deshaun Watson and then Jacoby Brissett from Miami, the backup quarterback from Miami, to make room for Teddy Bridgewater, because they got rid of Case Keenum and sent him to freaking Buffalo. They went with a whole new. Maybe Case Keenum and Baker Mayfield were too close, and we had to separate them because I don't want that on my team anymore. I don't know what the reason is, but they picked up two brand new quarterbacks to get rid of the other two, and they haven't even gotten rid of Baker Mayfield yet. We don't know where he's going yet, so that's a whole nother thing.
That's a very weird story that they're like, we're not going to trade him, but they're shopping him, but they're
Right.
being I mean, I'll be honest with you, they're being kind of dicks.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
I
That's
don't know
fair.
why they're holding him and being so deliberate about it. He's already said he's not going to go to workouts and OTAs and all that stuff. He's not attending anything.
Right.
So what are you doing? What are you holding him
Well,
for? What's the deal?
this is kind of how Baker Mayfield feels right now.
He's holding a play card.
I don't know what he's, but that
like a corn on the cob.
it looks like he's eating corn on the cob. That's what that signal means.
He is coming in hot for the cob.
Yeah. More butter on that pass. That's what he's saying.
More butter. Oh.
I don't know. So, also being traded. Other things of note. Juju Smith-Schuster is going from Pittsburgh to Kansas City in a free agent pickup for Kansas City.
As if that team needs any more talent.
Yeah, Kansas City needed a couple more weapons to be competitive. Also,
Who the hell are you going to guard?
Robert.
You don't have that many good cornerbacks. Who the hell are you going to defend?
The tackles.
You're going to have to play prevent every single play with 6 guys deep.
I'd blitz.
Just trying to keep it in front of you.
I'd blitz 7 guys every time and hope he overthrows everybody. That's what I would do. What do I know?
I guess, yeah.
Robert Woods is headed from the Rams to the Tennessee Titans for a 6th round pick in 2023.
That feels like such a undersell.
A steal. Feels like a steal for Tennessee, who needs people. I mean,
I don't know how big Robert Woods' contract is though, so that might
be money, really. Yeah.
That might be why that's a big deal. But it felt like, man, that's not a lot.
Devontae Adams is now a Las Vegas Raider. Green Bay's
reuniting.
Green Bay's getting a 2022 first and a 2022 second round pick.
That also feels like a steal for him.
Yeah.
But his contract is huge.
Yeah. But it's an immediate first round pick added to Green Bay, and who, let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers has complained forever that they don't have enough weapons. So you're gonna need to draft some, or you're gonna need to go get some, and they haven't exactly shown a whole bunch of free agency signings. So I don't know what they're gonna do.
Being fair, Aaron Rodgers has made all of these receivers good.
Yeah.
We'll see if Devontae continues to be good, or if he gets there to Derek Carr and he finds out that, crap, I should have stayed with the guy who is talented.
Yeah, Derek Carr's not exactly the best quarterback in the group, but
not the worst. He's definitely in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Also, Allen Robinson. Moving on from Chicago, he is going to be a Los Angeles Ram.
That's a good spot for him.
He's replacing Robert Woods, basically.
He's bigger, though. He's bigger and stronger than Robert Woods is.
Yeah, I think that's a good pickup for the Rams, who are still trying to keep that whole core together for another year. They obviously didn't, because we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Amari Cooper is now in Cleveland. Got to give Deshaun Watson someone to throw to.
That's a pretty good pickup.
That's
a very good pickup for Cleveland.
Amari Cooper, in my opinion, disappears too much. He's there, and then he's not there. And I don't know how much of that was Dak Prescott, how much of that was Derek Carr, how much of that was...
I think that's what the conversation is.
Right.
How much of that was these other guys?
But how much of that do you feel like Deshaun Watson's going to be that guy who's going to be able to use Amari Cooper to his potential? That's the question. I don't know.
The problems that Deshaun Watson had with Houston prior to all of his stuff, those were majority coaching related. The team had some weird offensive schemes and wasn't committing fully to, like, let's win right now. He's on a team in Cleveland that's saying, hey, we're gonna try and win this year.
Right.
I feel like that's gonna help him. I feel like Cooper's gonna shine a little more. I don't think he disappears as much. I think what you said is accurate, and that it was Carr and it was Dak Prescott. I don't believe in Dak Prescott, and I especially don't believe in Derek Carr. So
right.
Yeah. It was very interesting. But that's a good spot for him, though, with Deshaun Watson, new scenery for everybody.
Yeah, it might be good. It might be good for him. I don't know. Well, Christian Kirk of the Arizona Cardinals re-signed. No, he's going to Jacksonville. Sorry. Jacksonville picked him up as a free agent. Jacksonville spent a lot of money to get Christian Kirk, and I don't know why. He's okay. He's a good receiver. I wouldn't say he's elite or great, but they spent a lot of money on it. And to be fair, Jacksonville spent a lot of money on their free agent signings that they've had so far just to try and be competitive. They're trying to buy their way in to being competitive. But what you've done is kind of, by paying a wide receiver who isn't great, the money of a great wide receiver, you're affecting everybody else. All the other teams are going to suffer from that. So
I don't know how good or bad he is because he's dealing with Kyler Murray,
right,
and he's managed to be extremely successful with Kyler Murray,
right.
one of their more productive receivers. So I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bad receiver. I'm not even going to say he's middle of the road. He's definitely above that. But I don't know how much of that it was their offense. I don't know how much of that is going to translate over to Jacksonville. I mean, especially a team that's, they're still rocking Trevor Lawrence,
Right.
as far as I know, for next year. So
Yeah.
I don't know how great that's going to be, but who knows? Maybe that Jacksonville team was being weighed down big by Urban Meyer, and he's gone. So maybe they explode next year.
I think explode is a big term, but
Tough to say, yeah.
it's hard to say. Yeah, you don't know for sure what's going to happen, but anyway, there's moves galore still. Let's talk about a couple more things. Zach Ertz re-signed in Arizona too, so he's going to stay, which is he's one of the best top 2 in the NFL, top 3. Kittle, Ertz, Kelsey, probably top 3 maybe right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Von Miller is on the move again. Had his 1 year in LA, got himself a title, and is now going to be headed to Buffalo, whose defense is ridiculous already, I think.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. He signed a 6-year deal as a free agent with the Bills, so I'm guessing that's where he's going to retire. I don't know why you'd want to be around all that snow, but whatever. Just saying, I don't know.
I like how he goes to LA for a year and he's like, I want to go back to the snow.
Yeah, I need to go play somewhere cold again. This is ridiculous. Too much sweat.
He likes wearing long sleeves. I get it.
Yeah. So defensive end Randy Gregory goes to Denver from Dallas as a free agent. If he can stay away from the powder, he'll probably be a big help to that defense. I'm just saying he's had substance abuse allegations and suspensions before. So if he can play a full season, I think he played 11 games last year for Dallas, which is like his high. And he's been in 6 years or something like that. So it'd be interesting. He's good. He's a talented player. If he can stay on the field and not have personal issues, then he'll definitely help that team.
Yeah, last year he had injury issues.
Yeah,
I think is what kept him off the field. But in years prior, it's been other stuff.
Yeah. So I think hopefully
he's also come out recently and started talking about Dallas and saying that Dallas is a terrible place,
right?
And the coaching staff and the team is absolutely toxic.
Yeah, and it might be. I mean, I would imagine that's true. And any Jerry Jones run organization. Let's not talk about that. Anyway, the Jets. How about the Jets? The Jets are doing a lot. And they're moving quite a bit of stuff. So on defense, especially, they picked up DJ Reed from Seattle, and Jordan Whitehead. So they picked up a cornerback and a safety, trying to bolster their terrible pass defense. So let's be honest, it was bad.
Yeah.
Which is going to be helpful. So they've also they had a couple other signings that they've been the most active team in terms of picking up players, free agents. I don't know how great it's going to be. I don't know how good Zach Wilson is. I don't know that you can win with him. But we're going to find that out about him and Trevor Lawrence and those other guys that were drafted last year.
Hey, they were all in on Sam Darnold the same way.
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
We'll find out.
The Chargers lost. Well, not the Chargers. We're not there yet. Hold on. I got these out of order. Don't know.
That happens. Tampa Bay gave up somebody?
That's Jordan Whitehead. Sorry.
Right.
That's Jordan Whitehead that he picked up. But the Chargers lost Nwosu, Uchenna Nwosu, to Seattle. I don't know. Seattle suddenly found themselves with extra money, I guess, after the. Anyway.
Tons.
He's a good, talented player. I'm sad that he's leaving the Chargers. But hopefully he can help Seattle out.
Yeah, they need help stopping the run.
So they lose him, the Chargers do, but they gain J.C. Jackson from New England. They gain Sebastian Joseph Day from the Rams. They gain Khalil Mack from the Bears. And I feel like
not a bad deal.
In the overall, those three in and Nwosu out is a plus for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that they're doing everything they can to address their porous run defense from last year. And I think then in the draft they're going to end up taking an offensive lineman to help protect Herbert. And I think that's the right thing because they've got running backs, they got wide receivers, they're set at quarterback. Just bolster the defense and make sure that Herbert doesn't get hurt, and you're in good shape, I think.
Yeah.
That division is going to be so much fun to watch this year.
It's going to be tough all year.
Yeah. Every game should be good. That's the way it used to be. The AFC West used to be that way when it was Seattle, Kansas City, Denver, and the Raiders, and it was constant. I mean, every game was good.
We're going to get it again.
Yeah, we're going to get it again. All right, so moving on from football for now. We'll talk more because there will be more. There's going to be a whole bunch more signings. Things are coming.
And then in about a month, we're getting the draft.
Right, and then we'll talk about the draft. And we didn't even talk about Malik Willis's pro day yesterday, which I don't put much stock in pro days.
Yeah.
I think it's bogus. The pro day is an uncontrolled atmosphere in terms of you're at your place playing your people with your wide receivers.
I think what you mean to say is that it's a controlled atmosphere. It's uncontrolled by the NFL.
Uncontrolled by the. Yeah, you as a scout, you don't have any control over what the guy is doing. Really.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, throwing the ball is throwing the ball, right?
It is.
You're watching the release. You're watching the time of the release. You're watching the arc of the ball, the spin.
Yeah.
That's going to look the same whether it's in combine or at pro day.
Sure.
The guy who catches it on the other end, that's another story.
Yeah.
The rapport he has with his receiver there. He's not going to have rapport with every receiver, but the ball's going to look the same.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
The footwork's going to look the same. I'll give him that.
My other opinion is that Ryan Leaf looked great too. Okay. You just don't know what that player is going to do in the NFL situation until he's in an NFL situation. You really don't. You can study it all you want. There's a crap ton more people who fail than succeed as an NFL quarterback that were good in college. So,
I would very much agree with that statement. But to say that the pro day isn't a great thing or doesn't help anything. It's just an extra look at somebody. But it's not definitive of their talent.
Agreed. I just don't like the fact that I'm not seeing you throw compared to another thrower. There's no other quarterback. Yes, if you went to the combine. If all the players go to the combine, then yes, that's true. But not all the players go to the combine. And so if you just go have a pro day instead of going to the combine, this is the only time I get to see you is in this atmosphere throwing to your wide receiver on your field in your conditions. That's not what I want to see. I want to see you compared to this other guy.
That's not the same. Look at the tape. Pull up the tape then. You're an NFL scout. Pull up the freaking tape. You got tape of Malik here. You got tape of somebody else from Harvard at their pro day. Pull up the tape. Put them side by side. You'll be able to see the throws.
I don't want to see them side by side at pro day. I want to see them side by side on the same field throwing to the same wide receivers. That's what I want to see.
All right. Then better question here is how many quarterbacks don't go to the combine? How many quarterbacks who are expected to be drafted don't go to the combine?
I don't know.
The answer is not many. Every quarterback who I think has been drafted in the first round has gone to the combine and has thrown. That would be, I guess, maybe one in the past decade, maybe hasn't. So they go to the combine. It's all happening. All these guys went to the combine.
Yeah, but they don't.
And then they do their thing later for scouts to get an extra look. Okay. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't seem like it causes that big of an issue. It's bigger for receivers, I think.
I didn't say it was wrong, and I didn't say you couldn't gain something from it. What I said is I don't put much stock in it. I don't feel like it's an accurate
discrediting
test.
It because you feel like it's somehow slanted.
It is.
The throw is the throw. It doesn't matter if it's to a guy who's known for 10 years or a guy who's known for 1
year.
It
absolutely does. It absolutely does. If you can't put the ball onto that guy's hands, you can't blame it on the wide receiver. Right?
He knows him well enough. He knows how he cuts. He knows how he breaks. I get what you're saying, and he will get there with the guy you draft
eventually.
Or it'll happen.
Right.
And but the point of the point here is when you're looking at that, you're not necessarily looking at the back end of the throw. You're looking at the footwork, the release, the hands, the way they catch the snap, the way they call out plays. You're not necessarily looking at who's catching on the other end unless it's their pro day too.
Here's my thing. If you had two quarterbacks and their footwork and their release and their size and their speed and all that was exactly the same, just exactly the same. And one guy can't manage to put the ball on a wide receiver he doesn't know. He can't put it on his hands, but the other one does. That's the guy you want because he's going to find a way to make that pass complete, even though that receiver, he has no idea where he's going or he doesn't know how fast he is. If he can still hit that guy, that's the guy you want because you don't want to have to wait 6 years for them to develop rapport with a rookie wide receiver. You want it to happen now.
Well, but so then let's flip gears then. Okay. What about the tight end from Oregon State who dropped like 5 passes?
Yeah.
This one quarterback gets up to make his one big combine deep throw. He drops back, he heaves it. It's a beautiful throw, and he drops it. Now you're saying he's not putting it on him?
No. He did put it on him. He put it right in his hands. It doesn't
really matter who it is as long as it gets to where it needs to be.
I didn't say it had to be a catch. What I said was he has to be able to put it where the guy can catch it.
And you can tell that
Right.
whether it's against a stranger or the regular person. A slant's a slant, right? You have a little better feel for the person, but a slant's a slant. If you're trying to hit them cutting across the middle about 10 yards downfield,
Yeah.
you can figure that out
And
as a pro scout who watches people all the time. You don't need it to be with a stranger to figure out that information.
I understood. I'm just telling you.
For receivers, I am with you because receivers have a much bigger dependency on their quarterback. So their pro days are very, very, very slanted.
Impacted by the quarterback.
Theirs are. The quarterbacks kind of got to do the same thing no matter who's on the other end. The receivers can act a little differently. I'm with you for receivers. I'm not with you for quarterbacks. I think pro days are just as much information as a combine, whether it be strangers or similar or whatever.
I'm just saying.
And not to mention at the pro day, they can put quarterbacks through paces based on information from the scouts. So when I was at PSU's pro day, the Denver scout wanted wanted our quarterback to do certain things.
Right.
Like, hey, let's get him in a 7-step drop as opposed to a 3-step, which he normally does. Right. Let's see what that looks like. Have him do like 10 of those. So they can kind of situate that, but they can't do that at the combine. It's all very rigid and very structured. So there's a lot more fluidity. You can gain a lot of information from a pro day, I think, but less for a receiver, in my opinion, and definitely none for a cornerback. I don't know why they do defensive players at pro days, other than just speed and timing and things like that.
Yeah, well, and that's affected by who's running against you too.
Who's running against you? I will say this though, this guy who ran the 4.3.1 or whatever it was at this year's combine, there are people out there who are contesting the time, saying that based on all camera angles that they have, it should be around 4.12. Wow. But the combine is timing him slow for when he fully crosses the line, not when his toes hit the line, which is a lot earlier.
Oh, well, it's still fast. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the difference is 4.12 would be the fastest person on the planet.
Okay, but is he?
Yeah.
That's the question. Yeah, exactly.
But the way the combine times is apparently, according to all reports, is fairly inaccurate.
Right.
So,
I had other pictures. I didn't get all my other pictures put in here.
Oh no.
So it's okay. We're gonna go to here.
Hey.
I talk about the last couple things that I want to talk about, which is Major League Baseball is going to play 162 games. We didn't even talk about it. The lockout ended, mostly because I bought this bag of coffee.
That's exactly right.
Right. And I think it ended because both sides agreed to give the other people more money. That's just kind of how I feel that happened. That went down.
They all got what they wanted.
They all got something out of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have agreed. 162 games still on the table, so they're still going to play all the games, despite canceling 2 weeks of the season. They're going to open April 7th. The playoffs are going to expand to 12 teams instead of 10, and the top 2 division winners are going to have a bye instead of the way that it currently is. Currently, you have 2 wildcard teams with a 1-game playoff. The winner plays the division winner with the worst or with the best record, and then the other 2 division winners play. Now you're going to have 6 teams, 4 teams playing, 3 wildcard teams playing, and 1 division winner, and then the 2 division winners with the best records get the bye into the next round. But you're not going to have any more 1-game playoffs. That's gone. If there's a tie for a division or for a wildcard spot at the end of the season, it will be like a regular tiebreaker rules, head-to-head, then division, then league record, and then a coin flip eventually.
That's awesome.
So, and then they're going to be the wildcard series are going to be best of 3 series, 2 out of 3. So that's kind of interesting. So there'll be more baseball games with more teams. I don't know if that's a great thing. Also, you're going to have a designated hitter in the National League now. I don't like it. As a baseball purist, I don't like the designated hitter in general. It takes all the decision-making out of coaching, but that's fine. That's what they wanted. That's what they get. I think it just gives one more player per team a chance to play, is what they're deciding. And
that's
then,
fair.
And then they changed a rule on the designated hitter. This year, they're going to change a rule. In the past, in the American League, you had to, if you put a player in for the designated hitter had to come out, right? So what would happen was, this is the Ohtani rule. So Shohei Ohtani for the Angels would pitch and hit for himself, right?
Yeah.
If you replace him as a pitcher, he has to come out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't have to do that anymore. He can remain in as the hitter, the designated hitter. You can leave him in.
which is bad news for everyone else that
Which
he's
is,
allowed to do
yeah, I
more.
mean, why we had a one single rule change that affected one player in Major League Baseball. I don't even understand that, and allowed him to get better.
I don't think we've ever had a hitter slash. I don't think we've ever had an all around tool like that guy.
Yeah,
so it makes sense that when somebody like that comes along and they're as good as they are at so many different positions, that you kind of make some adjustments because they kind of point out a flaw.
I suppose. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why it's never been addressed, I think, prior to this.
Quit being good at both. Just make up your mind.
I know. You suck at something.
Stupid people. Anyway, and then so also Ash just announced yesterday, Ash Barty is retiring from tennis. The world's #1 ranked women's tennis player is retiring at the age of 25. She announced on Tuesday, just 2 months after winning the Australian Open. She said she didn't have the drive to compete at the highest level anymore. She also quit in 2014, by the way, quit tennis, citing burnout, and played cricket in Australia before returning to tennis in 2016.
So she could come back.
So absolutely, she might just go play some more cricket and come back. I don't know.
People that retire and come back, I'm just, Brady.
Don't call it retiring. Just say I'm stopping for a while. I'm stopping.
I might come back. That. If you just want to say like, hey, I'm a little tired doing this.
I'm gonna take a break.
I get that.
Yeah, I would be okay with that. I'm just going to take a break. Let's not call it retirement. I'm going to be out. I'll see. I'll reevaluate. If I come back, I do. And if I don't, I don't.
But you go through this whole ordeal. I mean, I'm kind of talking about Tom Brady now, but you go through this whole ordeal. You retire. People are talking about it. You cause a news cycle and all this chaos. And then you just crap on all of it. Did you hear that he's going to help out the guy that bought his last football?
Is he helping them out? Is he actually giving any money up?
He is saying, well, no, I don't think he's going to help him out. I think he's giving him like stuff.
Yeah.
He's giving him some signed jerseys and things like that. Just to try and I mean, that's all that has value. So
you want to impress me? Buy the ball back.
Well, no, that ball actually probably now people are thinking like, oh, he got ripped. And I'm like, man, you have the infamous Tom Brady retirement ball.
I guess.
Like at this point, it kind of has a life of its own. Like I'm going to guarantee you this: 20 years, you're going to go to Canton and you're going to see the Tom Brady retirement ball. This was the ball that was purchased for an crazy amount, and then he unretired. It's just going to be like kind of
because
like
it has a story
thing.
now.
Yeah. So it's almost gained value, but
maybe.
Tom Brady has come out and been like, yeah, I'm going to help the guy. I'm going to get him some stuff because that kind of sucks.
See, I don't know. I'm torn by the gesture, depending upon what it is and how he does it. Because I'm going to get him some stuff that I get for free, so it's not going to cost me anything. I'm just going to help him out by getting. Or hey, I'll write you a check right now for $750,000. I know you paid $500,000 for it, but let me buy it back from you. That would have been the gesture I would have wanted to see. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's wrong what he's doing. I'm just saying until I see that, I feel like you didn't really do anything. You're just gonna.
Apparently, he's also trying to donate a Bitcoin to the charity of the person's choice.
He's trying to get Bitcoin to donate something, because what I read.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what that said.
He's not actually buying anything. He's not spending any money. That's what I don't like about it. I'm helping him. Well, everyone else is helping him. You're just orchestrating it. And I would like it if you would just come out and buy it, and then worry about
the new value of the football. Apparently, is being estimated around $20,000.
Instead of 500 and whatever he paid for it.
$500,000.
That's what I'm saying.
You
should have come out and bought it for at least what he paid for it. Just paid him the cash. Say, here you go.
I just don't like people that are like, Tom Brady's responsible for this. He caused a hysteria that made this guy make a decision.
Right.
Which, I mean, the guy spent $500,000 on a football. Ya dumbass. All right. Like, move along with your bad decisions. I'm sorry you got a lot of money to blow on a football.
Yeah, that wasn't even fully inflated.
That wasn't even fully inflated. 8.5 pounds. You know that's under, man.
I'm sure that's what that was.
Yeah, but had the extra $500K to spend on a football.
Right.
So I'm not entirely sympathetic to his plight. However, it's frustrating that somebody who feels like they bought something valuable because of what you said, you're direct market influencing. You are market manipulating almost.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of like I don't know. It's not an insider trading. It's just you're shifting things. You're doing it on your own.
The good news is that the ball comes with a complete list of the rest of the AFC East offensive plays. So there's that. You get a complete list of their signals.
So he's gonna sell it to the Dolphins this year.
Like maybe, I don't know. That's all I'm saying. You get that as a bonus. I don't have a trivia question. Did you find one?
Oh yeah, I got one. You ready?
Okay, let's do it. So hold on.
All right.
Hold on. The Best Slam Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Save and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. What is it, Go?
Okay, which city has hosted the second most Final Fours since 1939? I got 4 options for you. Those are New York, Indy, Louisville, and Seattle. The second most.
Second most. New York. What was the second option?
New York, Indy, Louisville, Seattle.
And Seattle. I would second most. I'm trying to figure out where I had the first most, and maybe that's New Orleans.
Actually, so these are the top ones. So go ahead and rank them. Give me your 1 through 4.
Oh, I don't know. I would have said New Orleans was up there.
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, then I would tell you that San Antonio has been a place.
It's not.
Good
these
night.
are your top 4.
Oh, those are the top 4.
These are the top 4. Which of these ones has the second most?
Oh, so I would think Indy would be 1.
You think Indy's 1? Okay.
I think Indy's 1 because of the where it's at, centrally located. Blah 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 blah.
Who do you think's 2?
Final Fours.
Final Fours since 1939.
Oh Jesus. Louisville.
Okay, you think Louisville's 2? Gotcha.
And then I would go with New York and Seattle.
New York 3, Seattle 4. So you're trying to say that Louisville's hosted the second most?
Yeah, it's more centrally located than the East or the West, and it's a basketball town. And okay, go.
Yeah. All right. So the number 1 team that's hosted the most is Louisville.
Okay.
They've hosted 8 different Final Fours.
Okay.
The number 2 team is New York, or the number 2 place is New York.
Okay.
So New York is the answer, and then Indy and Seattle are tied with 6 each.
Okay.
So those are the top 4 places that have hosted Final Fours.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of cool. I actually just Googled like NCAA trivia questions.
I wouldn't have pictured Seattle as one of the top 4.
I don't think they've hosted one in a while.
No, it's been a while. They used to do it, but I haven't seen it in a long time. And I know that I've seen one in San Antonio and New Orleans since then. But I just whatever. Okay.
I think the last one they hosted was 1995.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a minute since they did. They did it in 89, 84, 58. So they've done it a bunch of other times, but yeah, last one was 1995. So Seattle hasn't hosted it for the majority of my lifetime.
So one quick note before we go.
Mm-hmm.
The USFL announced some rule things for their upcoming season. Several twists to the traditional NFL rules and college football rules. So after scoring plays, teams have a third option to attempt an extra point. A successful scrimmage play from the 10-yard line gets 3 points.
Ooh, they could move it back and get a little bit more?
Right. So you can kick it, get the 1. You can go for it from the 2 and get the 2, or you can move it to the 10 and you get 3. A second option to retain possession after scoring will be converting a 4th and 12 from the team's 33-yard line. So,
that's interesting.
So instead of an onside kick, if you can convert a 4th and 12 from your 33, you get to retain the ball. If not, the other team gets it wherever you get stopped.
Damn. All I see in my head is teams that are hot.
Right.
Because like when a team gets hot and they're really firing on all cylinders, that sucks. They're going to drive down the field, score, and then keep the ball.
in overtime, each team's offense will alternate plays against the opposing defense from the 2. Each successful it's the same thing as college is doing right now. Each successful scoring attempt will receive 2 points, and the team with the most points after 3 plays will be the winner, unless it's tied, and then it becomes sudden death.
Interesting.
And they'll keep going until someone wins.
Interesting.
You'll be allowed 2 forward passes from behind the line of scrimmage.
2 forward passes.
So if your screen pass is forward, you can still throw it.
So you can shuffle pass to a dump pass?
And exactly. That'll make it interesting.
Exciting.
That'd be harder to guard, I'm sure.
Yeah, you got to account for more.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a number of other things that are kind of minuscule, but that's the big ones. And so it'll be interesting to watch and see if the NFL takes notice and uses that. The USFL and the NFL are not related, by the way. So
yeah,
just FYI, not saying
exciting.
They're gonna, but it makes it more. It'll make it more exciting. And I think giving teams a chance to get 9 points for a touchdown basically would be a big deal.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Keep it tighter probably. I still think that if you hit one over 50 yards, it should be worth 4 points, a field goal.
Yeah, I think you could slide that back. Well,
50 yards. That's the range.
I think you should have to hit it from the 40-yard line. So it's 50 yards. Yeah,
50-yard field goal would be worth 4 points. Anything over that, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see people challenging, world records.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be cool. And then put a bounty out there. The kicker that kicks the longest field goal, have the NFL put out a thing. Kicker kicks the longest field goal this year gets $1 million, $1 million bonus.
Ooh.
The NFL could put it out there.
That's a bump for the kickers.
Yeah, and then they're going for it. Oh, you know what? It's a 68-yard field goal. Let's try it. Let's do it.
See, the problem that you'll get here is that you had guys like oh my gosh, who is Denver's coach last year? Fangio.
Yeah.
Fangio would notoriously kind of skirt away from Brandon McManus kicking long field goals sometimes.
Yeah.
He'd be like, it's a 50-yard field goal. We'll just go for it.
Right.
Like fourth and 8. And I'm like, why are we not trying this?
Yep.
Like it was you would get kickers who would be more irate about that decision.
It's
like,
true.
why are you not letting me?
And that's right. A coach could be affecting the kicker that way. But also you get teams that might influence a decision and influence the outcome of a game if you did it that way.
I don't think that I think you have a better chance of putting more points on kicks, saying like, hey, a 50-yard field goal is worth 4 points.
Right.
That would lead to coaches taking more chances on kicks.
Yep.
But I don't think if you put a price tag on the longest kick, I don't think a coach is going to make any more kicks happen unless it's meaningless.
Well, that's
end of the game, you're up 20 points, you're at the 50-yard line. Go ahead and get in there and kick this one out. There's only a second left.
Or losing by 20 points.
Losing by 20 points. Go ahead and try and get your $1 million real quick.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
At which point it's not fun anymore. You're just watching a kicking show. That's no fun.
Right.
I want to see it be important.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Anyway, there are different rules. So there's lots of things that people could do, and I don't know if anybody's going to do any of those things or do the things that we talk about, because some of my stuff is rather extreme, but that's okay. I would like to see the NFL do a lot of things before we do tweaks like that. Fix just flat out put more referees on the field, and let's actually call holding when it happens. How about that? Whatever.
Hey-oh, shots fired.
Just saying. Anyway, all right. So that's all that I have. Do you have something you want to talk about for a minute?
Well, all I have is that I just tried this Coca-Cola Starlight, and it's terrible.
Does it taste like space?
It says it's space flavored, but I don't know what the hell that means. And it kind of tastes like Coke with a weird flavor in it. Like not like so like cherry Coke tastes like cherry,
right? That
has like a tint of Coke to it. This tastes like Coke that has just like brushed up against some strange flavor.
Is it?
It's not great.
I heard someone describe it as Coke that went bad.
Like
it's a bad batch of Coke or something.
Yeah, it does. It does taste like not flat Coke, but
no.
It's like bad Coke.
Yeah, somebody got the recipe wrong. Great. It was a mistake, and so now let's package this Starlight, and it'll be good.
I really hope that that's not what space actually tastes like.
Well, I don't know that you're never going to get to know what space actually tastes like, but
yeah. Just saying, one day in the future, when the great grandkids listen back and they go, "Oh, he was kind of on it with the tastes like bad Coke." This is when they're living on Mars.
I've been to space and I know exactly what it tastes like. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not great. People don't waste your money.
There you go. All right, that was it. All right. Well,
not bad.
Yeah. All right. I'll have to try it though, just because I have to take at least one drink of it. I haven't done it yet because it's not readily available here in Yakima. You can buy it, but you can only buy it like in these little mini cans. And
I just saw it at the gas station, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?"
I would buy one bottle just to try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I did. I bought one bottle of Coke I know I'll drink, and one bottle of this.
Right.
And I'm not going to finish.
Oh, absolutely. You need the backup. Yeah. You need to be at the 7-Eleven getting the 2 for $2.22 or whatever it is, and yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Right. That's all we have for today. We're gonna be back next week. I think on Wednesday, the 30th, unless something changes. So, but it doesn't really matter. We tape them all and we post them on Facebook or on YouTube, whatever we do. You'll see the post on Facebook too, with the link and on the website. But anyway, we're streaming on YouTube every week. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. You can email. I don't even have music. Which one? Which one did we like? That one? Was it that one or was it the other one? Which one were we on?
I like that one. It's a good one.
All right.
It's already going now.
Yeah, it's too late to change it. Can't hit another button. You can email us slamsports@gmail.com. I want to thank ESPN, NFL, Fox Sports, NBA, MLS, NBC, CBS Sports. Of course, our sponsors, the Range in Yakima, Bob City Yarns, David Stone Wine, State in the River, And again, we'll see you next week. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lone Tree Media LLC. Thanks for listening.